All right. Hi, everyone. I am Isimemen Joby, business and career growth strategist and founder of Fulfilled, the most phenomenal, transformational career and life coaching program for Black women and women of color who want to land their dream jobs, skyrocket their salaries, and live fulfilling lives. I have the one and only Tremaine Dowell. Did I say that right, Tremaine?
Yes.
Tremaine Dowell with me today. And Tremaine has the most incredible story. Just before this, we were kind of just talking and catching up. And she told me something, I started crying. I was like, wait, Tremaine, you didn't tell me that before. So you all are gonna just get the tea on Tremaine's transformation. We had the joy of working with her in Fulfilled, and man, just blown away by what the Lord used us to do in your life. So Tremaine, if you could just introduce yourself, tell us who you are, about you and your wonderful family, and what you do.
My name is Tramaine Dowell, Tramaine Brathwaite Dowell, and I'm here in the Georgia area. I have a wonderful husband. We are coming up on 2 years of marriage, so we're still pretty fresh. And we have a little girl who's about to turn 1, and then I have 2 amazing stepsons. So we definitely have a full house. But my background, I'm in business operations, and I've been doing that for a while. Knew that that was kind of my niche and my lane. But you know, I got to that point where I was like, I'm not fulfilled in my career, and I need a change for me and my family that's growing, and that, potentially will still continue to grow. And, I just want us to do major things for us and for our children.
Yeah, awesome. And Tremaine, can you tell us what you do now? What kind of company you're working at now?
So I'm still in the business operations field, which, and I'm sure we'll get into, through the program, I learned that is what I love to do.
Yeah.
And so I stayed in that field, and I'm working for a major tech firm, tech company, and came from education nonprofit, and transferred over to tech, still doing the same type of work, but just the quality of work, it is a little more meaningful to me. It has a little more impact for what I'm doing. And so, but I was able to learn that I could still do what I like to do, just in a different setting.
Yeah. And Tremaine, I know we're going to kind of get into things, but what I love about what you said, and something we talk a lot about Fulfilled, in us wanting to be fulfilled, you went from nonprofit in the education space, and people would think that's peak fulfillment, education, nonprofit, saving the world. And to see you go to a straight up tech firm and still find your niche and say you are more fulfilled is really phenomenal, because going into tech, it gave you that leverage. It gave you the financial kind of comfort you wanted, but it also stimulated you in a way that you weren't being stimulated before.
And I feel like a lot of people feel that, right? Because ever since coming out of grad school, I was mainly in nonprofit work. That's all I was doing, was nonprofit work. And don't get me wrong, not that what I was doing didn't have impact, but I just didn't feel like I was being challenged enough. I didn't feel like I was in that role that just gave me like, yes, I love what I'm doing every day. I woke up with those Monday blues, like, oh, here goes another week. And, it wasn't clicking for me. It wasn't clicking for me. And that's okay. I learned that was okay. Let's go somewhere where it speaks to you. It speaks to my morals, my values, what I value for me and my family, and still be able to provide the life that I need for me and my family.
I love that. And Tremaine, I want to ask you a little bit about, before you came into Fulfill, kind of what led you to us and what was going on. And for everyone watching, if you can tell us how many total years of work experience, I think that helps people. Do you have a master's? Do you have extra certifications? Just kind of let us know your education, and then total years. And then my second question is, what was life like before Fulfill?
So I have a bachelor's in business management, and I have a master's in arts management from a very well-known university, very prestigious university. And my master's, even though it says arts management, it was kind of like an MBA for nonprofits. So learning how to run the business side of nonprofit organizations. So after that, I was in development work, program management for nonprofits, things of that nature. I also got my certification in project management. So I am a PMP as well. So, I had all these degrees and certifications, but it wasn't translating to what I was bringing home or the title, and I'm a big believer that, it's not always about the title. It's not always about the money, but when you don't have the title, you don't have the money, and you're not being fulfilled by the work, something got to give. Something's got to give, right? Yeah. And so each job I was moving to, I was moving up a little, but literally only a little. And it was just like I was inching up and not making the leaps that I felt like I needed, especially with the background that I had and the education that I had. I wasn't making the leaps, and I felt stuck. And then it just came to kind of a boiling point where at my previous employer, I was caught in this cycle where promises were made, but then it wasn't being fulfilled. Or when we circled back, it was, well, we can't do that right now, or, we can't give you another title, or, and without the title, then you can't get the pay. And so it just felt like, well, what am I doing? But yet I'm doing all of this extra work. And you see this, it's a lot of lip service where, you're saying, Tremaine, you're amazing, you're wonderful, you're doing this, you're doing that, but you're not showing it. And I was getting frustrated. I didn't know what else to do. I just felt like, it's time's up. I gotta go. And I had a conversation with one of the higher ups at my previous employer. And when she said to me, Tremaine, at the end of the day, your skill sets are moving faster than the department is growing. And while I would hate to lose you, I would be more than happy to write your letter of recommendation. This is what she told me, literally. And I just sat there and I said, bet. And I don't need your letter of recommendation. Say less, exactly. And so I just talked to my husband and I was like, I gotta go hard because this is not it anymore. And then one day I was scrolling on Facebook.
Well, before you get there,
okay,
I want to make sure people really understand what are some of the words that you would use to describe when you really sat down? Because we had a call, we talked about your life, your future. Sometimes women, especially Black women, we carry the world on our shoulders. We have so much. We are superheroes. And we don't ever get a safe space to just sit down and be like, man, things are not going the way I really want. So can you share some of the words you would use to describe how you were feeling, how you have been feeling, or had been feeling about your career and yourself when you really sat down and thought about it?
I felt dejected. I felt like at the bottom of the totem pole. I felt like, Tremaine, you're too smart to be struggling this much. And granted, I was still blessed in many ways, and I still was able to make ends meet and things of that nature. But I was tired of just making ends meet.
Come on,
right? And I was just like, and then you question your worth, you question your intelligence, you question the investments that you've made in yourself as far as your education goes, and you're like, this is so stupid. And then also watching my peers around me feeling like they're succeeding and I'm sitting here like, what am I doing wrong, right? And you just feel very devalued. You feel very like unworthy. And that translates. So because all that negative self-talk, it started translating in kind of how I was approaching even searching for jobs.
Come on.
But I didn't even realize it at the time.
Yes.
I didn't realize it at the time, right? And then you start settling. And that's what I realized I was doing, is that even in the things that were being offered to me, I was settling and just being like, okay, I should be grateful, right? Okay, I'll take this. It's better than that, even though it wasn't that much better. You know, and I was settling because of all that negative self-talk. and just feeling like this is my lot in life. This is just how it's gonna be. And
Insane.
it was a lot of, as they say, stinking thinking, right? That kind of had to get cleaned up.
Of course. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, Tremaine, we are women of joy. A lot of us in the program are women of faith, and we have people who aren't women of faith. It's, everybody is welcome.
Yeah.
And so sometimes there's that juxtaposition of like, man, I should be grateful. It's a pandemic and the economy. I should just be grateful someone's hired me at all. And it's like, you can be grateful and at the same time understand your value and honor that you should be in a better place.
Right. Exactly.
And so you were sick and tired. And that's when
I was sick and tired. And then that's when it was scrolling through Facebook, and you had, because we're Facebook friends, and you had put a post about doing kind of like a preview into a portion of the program. And I think it was like, I don't even remember, it was like $20 or something. It was low, that you had promoted for it. And I was like, let's try this. Let's see what this is, And so, and it was for 5 days.
Yes.
And I remember, I think it was called the Dream Job Challenge or so.
Yes.
And I remember doing it and just like listening to you and how you were just speaking life into the ladies and speaking life into what we can obtain and what we can attain. And it was a lot of nuggets that you were dropping. And I was like, okay. And then, you were like, if you want to join the program and get the whole shebang, hit me up and let me know, and then you and I reached out and we had that call to talk about the program, and the rest was kind of history from there,
And so you went ahead, you came into Fulfilled.
Yeah.
Talk to us about your experience in Fulfilled. Like, what was that journey like for you?
So like I said, from jump, I was like, let's do this. And it's so God's amazing, because the weekend that I joined coincided with a weekend that my husband had given me a getaway. So I had gone away for the weekend by myself, no baby, no kids, no responsibilities. Like, he got me a hotel room, different state, like, go. And so I was able to sit in that hotel room for the weekend and like go through the videos and go through the program, and and really just kind of immerse myself in some of the materials that you made available to us. But what I loved about the program, without giving away too much, is that it's a holistic approach.
Yes.
And it starts with the mind.
Yeah.
We have to talk about the mind. We have to change how you think. Remember, I was saying that stinking thinking, we got to get rid of that, because if you don't attack that first, everything else is obsolete. It doesn't matter. You're just going to carry it with you. And so going through the program and attacking that first was so paramount for me, because after that, I felt like my confidence really soared. And the way I approached my job search, the way I approached negotiations, the way I approached just talking about how bomb I am. You know what I mean? Just be able to brag on yourself, and not a humble brag, but brag on yourself.
Like a real brag. Like, this is what makes me great.
Right. I'm not humble bragging. I'm telling you how great I am and why I'm an asset. But it just kind of it pivoted the way I approached how I was searching. There was a lot of things in there where I was like, I knew how to do this, I knew how to do that, but now my approach and how I do it is significantly different.
Wow.
Even down to networking. I couldn't stand networking. But I also think I couldn't stand it because I didn't know how to do it well.
Come on.
And now that I know how to do it well, I don't mind doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm strategic about it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know how to maintain those relationships and all of that. And that's what led me to where I am.
Yeah.
Is relationship building and networking and being strategic. And then I back it up with, and I have the skill sets to back up what I'm telling you and to back up how great I am.
I love that, because we always talk about, you are a company's answered prayers, recession, layoffs, and Fulfilled. We're just like, people are getting offers left, right, and center because we understand the secret sauce. And so it's what you said, starting with the mindset. That's what makes this process different. People are like, can you fix my resume? I was like, absolutely not. I can't do that. There are like 4 to 5 things we have to do before we even touch it. And that's what we do in Fulfilled. And that's what you saw.
Yes, definitely. And I mean, like, you could even fix the resume, but again, it's not going to take you and catapult you to where you ultimately want to go.
Yeah.
If you don't start here. And if you don't change some of those foundational things that are always going to go with you, right?
Absolutely.
So I love the approach. Personally, as a faith-based person, I love that approach to it as well.
Yeah.
And being able to incorporate that, because, you know, and not saying that you have to be a Christian, you have to do all that to join the program. But for someone who was and who is, it also just helps to have that component of it, because it gives me more peace as I'm going through the process. And approach things in the process, and even my discernment as you're listening and being strategic about who you're reaching out to. It's been like God is guiding you, and guiding the relationships and the connections that you're making, right? And so I really definitely was grateful for that aspect of it.
Oh, I love it. I love it. What in the program kind of kicked your butt? What were moments where you're like, whew, what am I doing here?
You know, I don't know if there was necessarily that one part that like kicked my butt, but the parts that really like had me like, whoo, was you do a lot of self-discovery, right? So we're taking assessments, and I felt red.
Very good.
Very red.
Very good.
You know, then also just all in the reaching out, because, you know, there's goals that we set for ourselves and that you set for us. And there are ups and downs and valleys and mountain tops, you know, with anything. And so there were definitely moments through the program where you felt like, I'm doing all of this and nothing's happening. You know, that doesn't go away, right? So it was learning how to be persistent through that, how to not feel, again, dejected through that, how to not let the enemy come in and then make you think, you invested all of this, and look, you still in the same spot. There are definitely moments where those little thoughts are popping in your head and you're just like, you know, no. And then still learning to genuinely praise the other women as you see them moving forward, but you feel like you're stuck.
Ooh. Right? One moment for that. Because one of the things that is really powerful about the field is the community. We handpick, we curate, because even as we have conversations with you, people apply, we're having conversations. If there's anything that we see, if we see you are not completely committed to the transformation and dream, because we're on fire, we're passionate, we crazy in here. And we cannot be more passionate and more bought in for your future than you are, right? So we handpick. And I always tell people the power of the room, because people are like, wait, you coach us in a group, are you sure? And I'm like, oh, I've been doing this for years. I'm very sure. Because on that call, you will hear this person got this offer, this person negotiated this person's feeling down. You'll hear us coach them through. So then you're getting 10 times the amount of coaching, because you're like, wait, I had that issue. I didn't even know I had that issue. But then you're hearing people get offers. So you have to have that moment when you just got your last rejection, right? Or you just sent 20, you know, connection messages and no one responded. And homegirl's like, yeah, dream job, landed it. And you're like, great.
But those women were so, it really became kind of like a sisterhood where, you know, even though we didn't physically see each other, you know, virtually we're meeting every week, and they're genuinely encouraging you and cheering you on and happy for you and praising you. And, you know, when you're down, it didn't have to even be easy. It was another girl in the group who's like, girl, let me tell you, and she goes on and on and on, and she's encouraging and speaking life into you, because everybody in that room does want to see the other win. And they want to see you. And winning doesn't always mean getting that dream job at that meeting. It might be, you sent 5 emails and we're excited for you. Or you had an informational interview this week and we're excited for you. You made this connection and we're excited for you. You finished this aspect of the program and we're excited for you because that means you're one step closer to the end. So winning meant different things to different people at different times. And that was honored in that space.
And the thing we do in Fulfilled is we rewire your brain for success. Mm-hmm. So many people come to the program and they're so used to losing, especially with this career journey. And we show them, listen, we want to get your mind conditioned to win, meaning your mind will begin to understand that you are a winner. You are someone that's successful. So we celebrate everything. And then your brain's like, oh, we like this. Yeah. We're successful people. And then it starts setting you up and doing things subconsciously so that you continue to win. So that's why the people in Fulfilled, they just move different. The offers are different because you're conditioned differently.
Yeah.
And I love what you said about we win in different ways, because people ask me like, oh, what's the success rate? What percentage? And I'm like, that's not the right question, because our women are winning on multiple levels, the mindset level, the connection level, offers, just even discovering that, wait, I have these skills. I can do this. I didn't know this role existed. Oh my gosh, that's a win.
Right.
So I would love to hear, Tremaine, before we talk about the incredible offer you ended up, securing and walking in, what were some of the wins that kind of stood out for you? You can share one big win. You can share some other wins that kind of stood out for you during the program.
For me, a lot of the wins for me were, again, like I said, the confidence in changing my mindset, learning to negotiate and negotiating, and being able to speak up and to speak up with clarity.
Yeah.
What my value was.
Yes.
Specifically, I remember at one point in the program, I was offered a position at my previous employer. And that's kind of what I had been working toward, whatever. And so the job seemed great. The person I would have been working for was amazing. I knew him from other things. And then when we got down to the package and the money and all of that, it wasn't what I wanted. And again, in the past, I probably would have been grateful and just been like, I'll take it because I'm grateful, but because at that point, my mindset had changed and I knew what I was worth. I stood by and I negotiated, which was, like, okay, nope, I'm going to ask for this.
Yeah.
Like you, stone cold, like, and this is what I would like.
Yeah.
And and I remember the recruiter was like, well, this is as far as we can go. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to turn that down. And she was like, you must be getting great offers. And I was like, I know what my worth is. And I turned it down and walked away and was just like, I really just turned this job down. And I didn't have anything else waiting in the way.
And you didn't lie either. Sorry, a moment for that.
No, I didn't.
We're big on integrity. Like people get your resume, start making stuff up. Oh, I have 6 offers. We don't do that. We don't need to lie. We don't need to get a job. No. So you didn't say, oh yeah, I have a bunch of offers. You're like, I know my worth. A moment for that. That was just phenomenal.
Yeah, because I didn't have any offers at that time, but I knew what I was worth and I knew what I was holding out for. And granted, they're nonprofit. And I knew some of the organizations I was looking for were big tech. So I also had my standard for them and knew what they could offer.
Yeah.
I was like, if you can't even meet me here,
I like that. Yeah.
I can't do it, because I'm not going to be, and you're big on set your expectations realistically, right? So realistically, I knew what to ask for them versus what I'm going to ask for over here.
Yes, yes.
But you still couldn't even meet me there. And I was in the mindset of no more settling. I'm not settling anymore because I have a family, I have a child, I have 2 stepsons. I'm not settling. I deserve more. We deserve more, right? So for me, that was a big win. And I remember coming to our group and saying, I turned it down.
And we're all like, yeah.
And everybody's cheering me on. Everybody's like excited because I knew what my worth was and I knew what I was standing by. Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to keep moving forward and applying what we're learning every week.
Yeah.
and every day, you know, apply it to this. So that for me was big to say that and be able to move forward and do that, because I had never done that before in my job search. Negotiating, it's amazing how many women, we don't negotiate, right? We don't ask.
No.
And it's standard to expect it, but we still don't ask it, which is crazy. You know, I remember talking to one of my best friends, it was a guy, and he was like, he said, "You're not the only Black woman who I know who says that." And he was like, "But it's expected." He was like, "It's expected," you know, and I was like, "But you as a man, that's easy for you to say, you know." But now I'm like, no, ask for what you want, because they're not going to take the job offer away.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, we're programmed to think that. So,
and afraid. And any company that takes away because you
negotiate,
you don't want to be there.
Exactly.
Now, if you're asking for $250,000 at a job that's like a $50,000 job, then it's like, okay.
Sis, you need to expect.
Yeah. But if you are negotiating and it is, then let's go.
Right.
So I want to talk to you, Tremaine, now about the journey to this dream job that you're now in. How you got it. I know we talk a lot about authentic connecting. And just talk about even your interview process. I thought it was super dope, because it was just like, that's what happens when you know your value, you articulate it, like all of that. So take us through that journey.
It's so crazy how, just full circle, this all came. So I saw a position at the company, and just through connections and reaching out, I found out who the hiring manager was. I reached out to the hiring manager through LinkedIn, and she and I connected. And we did an informational interview. And then through that, you know, just me being authentic, being myself, you know, we made a connection. And she was like, "Oh, I want you to talk to so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so." And so I spoke to like 2 or 3 other people in that department, and just made genuine connections with all of those individuals.
Yeah.
The role ended up not going forward, you know, because of the company. But then they had a contract position that they wanted to offer, and was like, "Would you be interested in this?" And just for where I was in life at that time, having that contract position just wasn't the right fit and move for me. Again, it was knowing my worth, because anybody else, you know, you would have jumped at it and be like, "Yes, I'll do it." And I was like, "I can't do that." You know? And so I politely just said, "No, I don't think that position is the right one for me, but I would love to just keep in contact. And if you think of anything or whatever." And the woman that I originally reached out to, she said, "Tremaine, if you see any other roles here, let me know. I'll be happy to connect you." So fast forward, I think it was like 2 weeks, maybe, I saw this role that I'm currently in now. Wow. And I reached out to her and said, "Hey, I saw this role. Would you be able to connect me with the hiring manager?" So she did some digging, that she came back, and she ended up sending an intro email to me and the 2 individuals that were conducting interviews at that time. Had an informational interview with them, and it was amazing. And they were like, "Tremaine, we think you would be an awesome fit. We're going to ask to move you forward. If you haven't applied already, please apply." And I was like, "I did already apply." So they reached out to the recruiter and pulled my application and resume to move forward in the process. I think another week went by, and the recruiter reached out to me, and it just moved forward from there. I got scheduled to do interviews, ended up interviewing with 3 other individuals. And again, it was all about just genuine connections, connecting with them, just being myself, kind of taking off that massive feeling like I'm in a stuffy interview, right? I came prepared. I knew what answers I was going to give, but just genuine connections. Like one girl found out she has a baby who is the same age as my daughter, and her child's birthday is my birthday. And we were just talking and connecting and like that.
For like 20 minutes. And then it's like, "Oh, we have to interview." So,
and it was like, "Oh, exactly." And then they'd ask a question, then we end up going off on tangents, talking about something else. And that's how all of the interviews were going.
Love it.
And so, so then I think it was like a week after that, they're reaching out to me and they say, "We want you to talk to the boss." And so I was like, "Okay." And so when I talked to him, he was like, "Tremaine, essentially the job is yours. I just want to make sure that you fully understand what the role is, to see if it's something you still want, da, 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 da." And he and I spoke for about an hour. And then next thing you know, that was on a Friday. And then that Monday, I'm getting an email with an offer letter. And so it was all about genuine connections.
Wow.
It's not always what you know, but who you know, right? And just making those connections, keeping and maintaining those connections, that's what got me here. And then, of course, my skill sets proved that I knew what I was doing, but those connections is what got me in the door.
Wow. And Tremaine, and that's why we do the foundational work. You were confident. If you had the stinking thinking and the mindset like, oh, no one really wants to help me. What do I bring? I'm bothering people. Do you think you would have reached out to top leaders this is a top popular tech company? You wouldn't have done that. But you came in with such confidence and such knowing, and it literally oozed out of your pores. And people don't understand, good people like to help good people.
Mm-hmm.
People like it. They have roles to fill. They are dying to meet. Who is the person that's going to come in and do this work? We just got 600 applications. How are we going to figure out this person? And then you make yourself known and they're like, oh my gosh, you're our answered prayer. Come on, meet this person. Let's schedule this. So it was just phenomenal to see your mindset at play. And I love what you said earlier. You had times people didn't respond to your messages. We talk about that in Fulfilled. You only need one connection to change your life. And you were like, woe is me. No one, you were focused on who was actually responding and continuing to build.
Because there were definitely a lot of people in my inbox who hadn't responded. Then it was funny because then a lot of people in my inbox responded after I had started this job.
So look at that.
I was like, hey, thanks anyway.
I love that. And so you get the offer on Monday. What happens? Like, let's this offer. Yeah. Did you negotiate? Did you say, what is this?
Offer. And I remember they called me at first and said, this is what it is, and this is what we're offering you. And I was just like, okay. And I had to keep my composure, you know.
Always.
I was just like, okay, awesome. All right. And she was like, I'll send this to you in an email. Does it sound great? And I said, that sounds great. I just want to look over it. You know, when do you need a response by? And so we talked all of that. And then I remember getting the initial offer and just being blown away. I was just like, oh. Because it was a 6-figure offer, in addition to other incentives and bonuses and things of that nature. So again, though, taking what I've learned, not just saying yes at the first pass, right? I was like, okay, we're going to ask for more. You know, and not out of greed, but they're never going to give you the top of what they can give you, right? So I knew that there was more to be given. And so, I think I spoke to you and was just like, this is what I got. Ooh, you talked me through it. And then I crafted a response and I called the recruiter back and spoke to her. And she was like, Tramaine, I know negotiating can be difficult and I appreciate you doing this. She said, let me go back to the hiring manager and I'll get back to you. And then I followed up with an email of what I asked for in the phone conversation.
You didn't hear me in the conversation.
I was like, you know,
per our conversation.
Let's per our conversation. Here's what I'm asking for. And I want to say by the next day, because this was like the evening, this was like Monday evening or something like that. Now, by Tuesday, she was calling me back and said, here's what they're counter offering with. And it was well within what I was asking for. I don't even think in the initial offer, there wasn't a sign-on bonus. I negotiated a sign-on bonus. And we came up on the base pay and we came up on some stocks that they were offering. We significantly came up on those as well. And so, like I was telling you before, between my base pay and stocks, I more than tripled my salary. If you count in the bonus and benefits and all of that, my total package, I almost quadrupled my salary. And God is just.
So are we talking like multiple six? Is that what it's giving?
6-figure. God is. And
wow.
Again, it's mindset, right? Because you get that and you sign your name on the dotted line and it's all official. And then anyone wants to come and be like, you ain't worth that.
Wait,
you gonna mess it up. But I have the tool set to be like, Nope. I'm worth every penny.
Tremaine, let's just put the car in park. Because it's one thing to get a multiple six-figure value package. It's another thing to keep it. Because if you don't do the mindset work, you will go into that role. Do I deserve this? Am I good enough? Maybe I should work 90 hours a day to make sure that they don't fire me. Am I on the because your subconscious has never experienced that level of transformation. It's used to this. So let's say you catapult. If it doesn't catch up, it'll be like, let's come back here where we're safe. Mm-hmm. We're used to the 50, 60, 70K jobs, maybe. You don't deserve that. That's too much. Your job is on the line. Make sure you smile every second. It's just the flood. So it's one thing to get. It's another thing to maintain. It's another thing to excel in. My God. And that's why we do the kind of work. Because I don't want you to need me for 20 years. I want to help you and launch you. And you are now in this place and you're doing great work and you know you're worth every penny. And the thing is, no one can really pay you your value because you are invaluable. Literally, we all are. There's no price on a human life.
Right.
But if I just had to give y'all some numbers, the numbers are matching. The output I'm giving the company is matching the output I'm bringing home.
Right.
So just, man, it's another thing to maintain it because the enemy will come and say, who do you think you are?
And it was immediate. And I was just like, no, I've done too much hard work to let you undo everything I've done.
Whew.
Yeah. So I could do nothing but thank God and just say the investment was worth it. The investment paid off. The investment.
What did your husband say? I want to know. What did
my husband, when I told him, he was just like, wait, what? And then he was like, that's amazing, babe. And then he was like, I guess it worked.
I think it did. I think it was worth it.
He was like, I guess it worked, and my sister and my mother, of course, were just grateful. And they were like, you deserve it. You are worthy of it. And, so now my prayer is, God, make me a good steward of the blessing that you've given me, right? But it's been awesome. It's like even this year to be able to take the boys back to school shopping and have all your bills paid, pay the back to school shopping, and still have money left over to save and invest and be like, oh, it's so nice to not be like, okay, we broke.
Can we talk about that though, Tremaine? Like, I know we're laughing, but that made me emotional because that's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
You went on a trip and you went back to school shopping and there was still more left.
Yeah.
Like that's why we do what we do, so that there will be more left.
And that was such an amazing just feeling to be like, okay.
Yeah.
I can breathe.
You can breathe.
I can breathe. And so that's why I just said, like my prayer I said is constantly, make me a good steward, because it's easy now, right? That you have this access to get crazy with it. Yeah. And you still stuck and then back in the same place. You know how many people make six figures and they still live in paycheck to paycheck,
Yeah.
So I'm just like, make me wise, continue to give me wisdom. So that I do well with what you've given me, and then I'm able to bless others the way you've blessed me and pay it, right? Yeah. Because it's never just for us.
That's it.
I'm a big believer of that. It's never just for us.
Yeah.
You bless me so I can bless others, so I can be a blessing to others. And so I'm grateful for that opportunity and to feel like I can do that. And just give honor where it's due, So I'm so grateful. I'm grateful to you. I'm grateful for you pushing me, even though I was hesitant at
because the conversation was uncomfortable. But
I was uncomfortable. But sometimes you have to get uncomfortable to see a change.
Come on.
And you have to get uncomfortable to see a shift, because it's in the comfortability that you're becoming complacent. And
that's why you are where you are.
That's why you are where you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to do something different. And sometimes different don't feel good
at all. And it's interesting too, Tramaine, because you were living paycheck to paycheck, right? Or it was tight.
It was tight. Yeah.
It was tight. And for you to say yes to the program, I need to change my life more. Like the pain of where I am is greater than the pain of what I feel investing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like people have to get to that place where they're like, listen, I know it's a challenge sometimes to invest in myself, but what's even more challenging is staying here.
Is living like this.
Living like this is not okay.
Yeah.
And in choosing yourself and putting yourself first, you were able to elevate everyone. That's what people don't understand. By choosing you, everyone around you has changed. Now you're doing work at this company, you bring a joy and a light. And one thing I was talking about in one of our coaching sessions the other day is people often feel like fulfillment is connected to doing, once again, kind of nonprofit work or feed the children work. And if you're not doing that type of work in your career, you're not in fulfillment and in purpose. But people don't understand the world is literally waiting for you to operate in your gifts and your callings, for you to be in a place of fulfillment. Because when you turn on the screen for work, there's a joy you radiate because you are in alignment. And you don't know what that joy does to the room. So purpose is two-pronged. It's you using your gifts, like you're actually making progress. They chose the right hire. Please believe they're not going to be paying you that and making more on the back end. So either you're saving them that much or you're making them that much times 10.
Right.
So, and so you're helping the company grow. The company's able to hire other people because they're making money because of what you're doing. So families are doing well, right? Like we got to connect our purpose and calling that far and that deep. Then you're bringing joy. And I can imagine a time a colleague comes to you and they're like, there's something about Tremaine. And you just lift them up. You might not even do like a big prayer or whatever. You might just talk to them. And because you're in position and alignment, you were there to lift them up. You were there to help them with something. You were there to have a light conversation about how we have children the same age. People don't understand that that's all purpose. That's all calling. That's all God. And when we're in the place that we're supposed to be in, the world moves a little different.
Right.
More people are changed. Not to talk about your stepsons, not to talk about baby girl, your husband, your mom, her Mother's Day gift might look a little different next year. Like, man, when you shift, everything gets to shift. And we need to understand that.
And, you know, like you said, it's feeling fulfilled holistically, right? And now I don't have those Monday blues like, oh God, I gotta go to work on Monday. My role is 100% remote, which is amazing, and it works for me and my family right now. You know, I feel like, you know, of course, I'm still transitioning in the role, so there's still a lot to learn and whatnot, but I feel like the work that I'm contributing is making an impact. I feel like, you know, what I'm doing, they want it. They desire it. They desire what I can bring to the table. I genuinely like my colleagues and my supervisor, my boss, you know, and the people that they're just so encouraging. Everyone that I've met thus far are just very encouraging, and they're big on work-life balance, because that was a big thing for me in whatever job I chose. They honor, you know, they're like, oh, don't you have to do this and this and this right now?
Okay. You better know but don't you have to pick a baby girl? Can you get off this meeting?
Yeah, or if I'm like, hey, I'm on my way to go pick her up from okay, just call me when you're done, or we could talk about this tomorrow. Like it's honored, and you know, it's and I appreciate that. You know, if I shut off for the night, they don't expect me to answer. They're like, you can deal with it tomorrow, you know. So all of those different things. And I'm so grateful because it gives you a better, more healthy environment, you know, and
all around.
More drive to be like, I want to get up every day and go do this work.
Yeah.
I'm being filled and not just being drained.
Yes, completely. Absolutely. And something you said that I loved is, or what you said, what it made me think about is there are still good companies, still good teams, still good managers. People want you to believe. And that's the thing, man, mindset, because you really attract what you believe. If you think that every company is horrible and they're just those are the kind of interviews you're going to get. Those are the kind of offers you're going to get. But when you think differently, it just so happens that you are getting on teams, working with people who honor you as a mother, as a wife, as a person, honor your boundaries. So while people are sitting around and talking about how toxic everyone is and everything is, and you know, race this and that's that, and we know these things exist, but you are living day to day where you're like, you're in joy and you're working on a healthy team, and that's your reality. So it's just awesome to hear that that still exists. I know it exists, and I see it all the time with the women in our program who get offers, but it's beautiful to hear you say, like, you can still have And right now, Tremaine, to be honest, you have it all, right? We talk about this concept of women, can they have it all? And sometimes some things we have a little bit more than other things, but it's beautiful to see you have your family. You still prioritize your marriage. I know you don't play about that. You prioritize your children. You love your family, and you're doing work you love at a company you love, making money you love. You're fulfilled.
Yeah. Yes. And
Awesome.
I'm grateful to make the leap. And so for anyone that is questioning, I know it can be scary.
Yeah.
It's challenging. But if you're ready to change your mind and to do something different, then you make the leap, because it'll be worth it. If nothing else, it'll change you.
Yes. Yes. And that's actually, Tremaine, my favorite part. Like whenever I talk about Fulfilled, I always talk about the salaries and the transformations, because people understand that stuff. But when people come in, they're like, wait. And I was like, I know. They're like, wait. I was like, I know. It's who you become. You become a completely
different
person. And if you decide in 2 years you want to get another job, Tremaine, you know how to do that.
Right.
And you have the mindset to do it.
Right.
You know, so you are completely transformed, and I am so grateful. Thank you for your time today. Yeah. Thank you for coming in and doing the work, because you did the work, girl. That's one thing we can't do. We cannot do the work for you.
Yeah, you got to do the work. You got to do the work. You got to put the time in.
Yeah.
You got to do the work.
Awesome. And Tremaine, if people want to connect with you, I'm sure they can find you on LinkedIn if they just want to.
Yeah. So it's Tremaine Brathwaite Dowell on LinkedIn. Also, it's Tremaine Brathwaite Dowell on Facebook if you want to connect that way. And I'm happy to encourage, share any tidbits. Even if I can make a connection, I'm happy to do that as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Tremaine. And of course, if you're watching this and you're like, I need to change my life, I need Fulfilled, send us a message. We would love to chat with you. We would love to help you change your life forever. Tremaine, thank you so much. God bless you. And this was just phenomenal. And we will absolutely, of course, be in touch. You'll be in the alumni group. We have an alumni group.
Yes,
right?
I did.
So we will talk more for sure.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
All right.